I don't look forward to talking about my situation at all. I'm 68 years old, female, and I'm about to be homeless as of April 15th, 2010. And I find it totally hard to believe. A week or so ago, I wrote an article on my story, and I ask you to listen to it and take heed. Woman 68 years old, homeless, me. I never thought this would happen to me, never in a million years. But here it is, 68 years old and homeless, no roof. I once knew country club living, but after a bitter divorce, I was left with basically nothing. 2 suitcases full of my clothes, my mother's lamp, and my golf clubs I left my alcoholic husband. I had been a championship golfer back then, winning many tournaments. Good times in my life. From there I became the caregiver to my dearest friend, who had Alzheimer's. For years I cared for her, in and out of nursing homes. Then after 14 years she finally passed away and was set free. I became a person looking for a room to rent. I went from roommate to roommate. Either they were getting married, starting a life of their own, or they died, or they just moved due to life circumstances. My roommates were wonderful people. A lady from Greece, a lady who was in the ministry, and a lady who died. 2004, I had to move on after I had found my own condo, a nice 1-1 that I rented. But the hurricanes hit in 2004, and I was asked to join another lady who was the editor of my book, my one book called Just a Word. And it's strictly about Alzheimer's, about friends encountering Alzheimer's. I'll go on. This last roommate is selling her house and has told me I need to leave. So here I am, 68 and homeless. I make $680 a month in Social Security. And because of bad health, ventricular tachycardia, heart, and no secondary health insurance, I am in debt up to my eyeballs. I recently had vertebrae fusion. If you're wondering what this lovely little hard plastic gadget is around my neck, 2 through 6 vertebrae were fused. Needless to say, the bills are coming in every day. Doctors or procedures that were done. I was amazed when I saw the first bill. For some reason, I believed Medicare paid for in-hospital bills, but not so. In total, I probably owe $10,000 in medical debt. They're piled up behind me on the dresser, and they go about 6 inches high or so. Just had a message on the answering machine that they're putting one into collection. I have sent them $300, but apparently it wasn't enough. I called a company today that owns low-cost housing. One problem, the woman on the phone told me, there's a year's waiting list, but I'm to fill out the application anyway. Okay, I said, then asked if she knew what a person did in my case. No roof. She said no, she couldn't help me. Maybe social services could. I asked her where I could attain these services. She said I couldn't give you any more information, which I understand because it's not for her to do. She's doing another thing, trying to get me a low-cost housing. By then, I was crying and thanked her and hung up. I lay on my bed after praying because I didn't know what else to do. A crying prayer, a pleading prayer. For some reason, I still believe that there is a God. Why, I have no idea, and I'm sure it has something to do with my Catholic upbringing. You never lose it for some reason. The faith, I mean, you never lose. But still the question is, where will I go? If you're wondering, I'm reading from my article. Where will I go? I don't even have a vehicle to get me there if something should show up. I found a penny on heads yesterday and thought about Mom, who said whenever you find a penny on heads, keep it, because something good is going to come along. If you find it on tails, throw it over your left shoulder. It's bad luck. I kept the penny. It's in my pocket. However, today there is still no roof ahead in sight. Still facing the same situation. I did run across a homeless shelter farther down in South Florida, where I really do want to live. But from what I read, you cannot stay there all day. You can sleep there, you can have a bed. I guess that's something. Maybe I will take a bag with some clothes in it and tie it to the bed. Then in the daytime walk the streets. Not literally be a street walker, but maybe go to the library or stores. If you can't do street walking, I never even thought about that, but I have thought about other women that are in my situation and wonder if they stooped that low to become hookers to make money to survive. Anyway, it's not me. I started to think about the shelter and said, what happens if it rains? What happens if it's cold? What happens? What happens? What happens? Why is it we have become so dependent on money? I know people say they could live without it. But if you notice, it's always the person with the money that says that. Go ask the person living on the streets if they'd be happier with money. I'm sure they would. I've tried to tell the person I'm living with how afraid I am. She says she knows. But does she really? Needless to say, she has money. Why should she care? So this is my story, and for some reason I'm thinking there are a lot of stories out there just like mine. Single, elderly, women, homeless. By chance, if you get a chance, go into my book, Just a Word, under titled Rose Lamont, Lamatt, in Amazon.com. If you can buy a book, it would help tremendously. But now I face this, and I have no idea what to do. If anybody has any ideas or wants to contact me, send a note to rmlamont@aol.com. Thank you very much for listening.